What's up, Rushers? Michael here, back on the channel. Today we are taking a closer look at the new unit Craka to figure out if she's really worth your summons. She's a melee unit with tags of boss battle, ally damage up and enemy bleed. On paper she looks very promising, but we'll need to put her to the test to see if she lives up to the hype. In this video, we'll be summoning for Craka, going over my personal build for her, and testing her at maximum potential. After that, I'll give you my final verdict, should you summon Craka or skip her? I'll also be sharing my recommended builds for different types of players. So let's not waste any more time, let's jump right into the summons. Alrighty, good luck everyone with your summons. I hope I get some decent rates, but we will see. Starting off with the purple scrolls, I think we have way more than enough to get Craka, but there she is, our first copy of her. How cool does she look? Such a cool animation when you pull a new hero for the first time. But let's continue with the summons. There is the first copy of her. Hopefully we can get some good rates. There she is yet again. Not looking good so far with our rates, but we can only be hopeful that we get some better odds. There is Artmel there. Continuing on, haven't seen enough copies of her. We saw Ophelia there, but no copies of Craka, which is kind of worrying. So I hope you guys get better odds than this, but there she is yet again. Keep on going here. Hopefully we get some doubles or triples of her to make up for this bad start with her summons. But there is Galleon. Continuing on, hopefully we get some more copies of Craka. But so far this is looking very bad. Where are we at with the summons right now? 10,000, already halfway through here. And we haven't had the best luck with the summons so far. But let's hope we can continue with better success with the Craka summons. And there she is yet again, back-to-back summons for her. This is a great sign. There it is, triple back-to-back copies of Craka. This is, wow, quadruple back-to-back copies of Craka. How good is that? Continuing on, wow, 5 in a row. What is going on? This is insane luck. Honestly, I couldn't believe how bad we started with these summons, but we have definitely picked it up now. Continuing on, we didn't get 6 in a row, which is unfortunate, but let's continue to see how many more copies of her that we can pull, and there she is yet again. Going back, we're about 13,000 summons in, so 7,000 summons to go, so I'll keep an eye on the top there with the purple summons, but there is Alicia, along with no other copies of, oh, there is Craka, never mind, we got her there. Moving on, hopefully we get some doubles, triples, hopefully there is Craka. I'm not complaining with my current, wow, back-to-back. I was saying I'm not complaining about my current rates, but at the start it was a little bit fishy. However, there is Verde, nearly done with the summons as we get another copy of her. Super close being done with this banner. There is a copy of Fang. 3,000 summons to go. Let's continue on. Hopefully we get a couple of more copies of her. But as of right now, I don't think we will. There is Sabrina. 800 summons to go. So let's do 3 more of the times 300. And hopefully we get, yes, another copy of Craka. Along with the last one, times 300, we didn't get a copy of her, but that is the entire banner. I want you guys to guess, was 20,000 summons enough for the Craka banner to fully level Craka to the 7 stars? Let me know in the comments if it was, as we get to starring her up now. Please tell me that was enough to 7-star her. We have 40 copies of her, as you can see at the bottom here. So let's get into starring her up. Hopefully this was enough. Already at the 3-star, 4-star now. Scrolling down, 22 more copies of her. Hopefully that is enough with her 5-star there. 6 stars, and that actually wasn't enough for 7 stars, as we are just 2 copies of Craka short from her 7-star. So let's jump right back into the summons and pick up these last 2 copies. Hopefully we don't have to waste a lot of these purple scrolls just getting the last 2 copies of her, but there is Annabelle. Nearly done with this. We're just looking for 2 more copies, and this is looking very bad. 23,000 summons in, and we still don't have her at the 7-star. But let's not lose hope and continue on with the purple summons, and there she is. 1 more copy needed to get her to 7-star. Can we get it done in our next pull? Hopefully. No, we couldn't. Hopefully we can get it done soon. There is Chason. Nearly done. There she is. All done to 7-star. So let's quickly star her up. This banner took us around 25,000 summons to get her to 7 stars, which is pretty bad luck. However, I'm just grateful we got her there at the end. And there she is, 9 out of 9 to 7-star, fully upgraded to 7 stars. Alright, now let's go over my full build for Craka. I went ahead and fully awakened her, so we are all set there. But before we dive into the build, let's quickly break down her skills. Starting off with her basic attack, deals 270% of attack as damage to enemies, which is a pretty decent basic attack. Paired with her crit attack, deals 250% of attack as crit damage 2 times to enemies, which is very busted. Along with applying a level 5 damage dealt up buff to all melee allies for 2 seconds. This is very good. As you can see by the buff here, increases the damage dealt by 20%, along by an additional add damage to targets under bleed, which will deal an extra 50% of damage as add damage. Already she is sounding kind of busted. Moving on to her exclusive skill, deals 430% of attack as damage 2 times to enemies, along by casting a bleed damage over time effect for 10 seconds. This bleed effect will deal damage equal to 20% of attack every 0.2 seconds, which is very good. And if you want her exclusive skill to trigger at the start of battle, then definitely get her 3-star awakening skill. When the battle starts, applies a 10% attack up buff to itself. Now this is stackable, along with applies a damage down from range enemies by 30%. This is very crucial, especially in PvP, as we are currently in a very strong ranged meta. And don't forget, she also applies a target weakness bleed by 10% to all allies for 10 seconds. Now note, this happens whenever casting a bleed effect and is also stackable. So pairing this all together, she has an increased attack by 10% buff to herself, along by having another buff which decreases damage taken from ranged enemies by 30%. And don't forget, the target weakness being bleed increases the damage dealt to enemies under that bleed effect by 10. And this applies to every single ally in the formation, which makes her a very broken monster. Additionally, if you wanted to invest in her 7-star awakening skill, she will increase damage taken by 15% when under bleed, along with the usual increases damage dealt by 20%. So if you want the most out of Craka, then definitely go for her 7-star awakening skill as well. Now moving on to her recommended traits, I'd say crit rate is the priority here. Unfortunately, I didn't have enough dice to max out crit rate across the board, but this setup will do for now. As for her accessory, I recommend going with crit damage and crit resistance. These are super important to help her maximize her damage output. I'd skip on accuracy and evasion for now, as they are not crucial for her role. My Splendor Stone upgrades turned out pretty decent overall. I managed to fully max out her crush rate, which is insane, but I do wish I was able to pull more crit rate for her. If you are optimizing, the top 3 stats you want to focus on are crit rate, crush rate, and crit resistance. However, this is fully reliant on RNG, so good luck with your Splendor Stone enhancements. I haven't taken her all the way to level 70 just yet. For now, I think units like Sabrina and Lima deserve that priority, but hey, if Craka outperforms them in our testing, I'll definitely get her to level 70 as well. So now that you've seen the build, let's jump right into testing and see what she's really capable of. I slotted her in within this formation on the front row to see if she does a ton of damage. So there's only one way to find out. We are currently pushing 8564 in the Sierra Islands, and let's check her total damage. She is competing with Lima on the total damage area, as you can see on the left side of the screen, dealing 32G damage in the first test, which is kind of crazy there. In the second test here, as you can see, she is going above Lima in some circumstances. So my first opinions on this unit is that she is absolutely cracked. As you can see here, she is in the top 3, minimum top 2. Now she's slotted up to the top 4, but her total damage is very, very good. On to the final test with her. She's already number 1 damage wise. In my opinion, she is a must build character just for this specific reason, to help you push stages faster, so you definitely want to build her if this is a high priority for you. Wow, her potential in stage pushing is kind of crazy. I couldn't believe the amount of damage she was doing. So I'm going to slot her within this Dragon Nest formation. I'm thinking we can just swap Bernard out for now, just so we can slot in Craka. And this is the formation I'm thinking of running. Now, obviously, this isn't the best Dragon Nest formation. However, it will do for now. So let's get into our first test within the Dragon Nest and see how much damage does Craka do inside of this formation. As you can see here, if we can scroll down, she's around the top 5, top 10 area, which is still very good. A top 5 damage dealer, as you can see here, buffing a ton of melee troops. As you can see, Melissa in the top 3 area there, but she's hovering around top 10, top 15, 97 million. First attempt is very good. On to the second test with her inside of the Dragon's Nest. I really want to focus on her early. Where is she? She was in the top 3 or top 2, as you just saw there, hovering around the top 5, top 10 area, which is very, very good in my opinion, buffing those melee troops like Melissa and Artemel, dealing even more significant amount of damage. But as you can see here, she is in the top 10 area. But look at the dragon score at the top of the screen. Over 110 million on this run, which is incredible, all thanks to Craka. So that is an incredible run. Wow, 111 million. On to the final test with Craka. Let's see if she can do even more significant amount of damage within here. As you can see, she's about top 10-ish. I would say she hovers around the top 5 to top 10 area. To be safe, top 5. But as you can see here, she was second for a while there. Then she drops down a little bit to the top 10, top 15, which is still pretty good because remember, she provides those valuable buffs, damage bleed over time effect, which is very good. But look at the total damage. Wow, 129 million. Crazy. After testing, I can confidently say that Craka is one of the best monsters in Summoner's War Rush. She brings a ton of utility to any formation, and honestly, she's just too good to skip on. For my low spenders and free to play players, I recommend going for a 3-star unit along with the 3-star awakening skill. This build will definitely boost her total performance and will give you a lot of value. For high spenders and whales, she's absolutely worth the full investment. I'd go all in with a 7-star unit, fully awakened, including the 3, 5, and 7-star awakening skills with Devamon. She'll carry hard in any content inside of the game. Now for the final verdict. Should you summon for Craka? I think my recommended builds make it pretty clear she's a must summon. If you haven't pulled for her yet, I highly suggest you do. She's easily one of the top tier monsters in the game right now, and it's not even close. That's going to wrap up today's video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like and subscribe, and let me know in the comments, are you summoning for Craka? She's absolutely insane. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one.